was the purpose of the disbursement that they were getting from the landfill. So I don't know the exact language on it, but there may be some money for townships to possibly supplement that. Somebody, and I guess I can go, if the board wants me to talk to them and see if there is anything with regards to that.
Okay, I'm noticing that this doesn't come into effect until September 1st. I don't think we have to do it tonight. If you would find that. Yeah. All right, I would like to postpone this. Okay, now that leaves us at the end of our action items. Would anyone like a couple minute break?
Please.
Okay, I don't know, 5 minutes, whatever it takes to get done.
Oh, that makes sense. So we're probably put it down just to get. Yeah, we can go ahead.
I think this is a new record, 2 board spouses in the audience on the same night. You would never catch my wife here.
She's too smart. Andrea's got a lot going for her.
But the words are the same. Yeah. Or did you add, are these new words? Ah, okay. Okay. Oh, okay.
I'm just coming over here to see what Candy has.
Oh. I ain't one, that's all I got. You're a bad
I was coming to steal your candy.
Go ahead.
There's no retail meeting today.
Help yourself. Whatever you want.
Did you, your packet of Winnipeg is gone?
It is limited. I have 3 of them.
Apparently I can't go buy that candy. Should I bring it up? No, that's okay. I think it might just be me. You can't trust my temperature anymore. It's like a dog. It's not bad, but it is.
In my office, maybe? I don't think so. So when COVID hit, they bought 4 of these with the idea that my children and my parents
return. Let's see, discussion on business, possible action. A, first reading of planning and zoning consulting services with Tree LLC. I'm going to start off by explaining the process, which I'm not particularly happy with at this point. Okay, I, as the legal agent / whatever else I am, have done what John's always done. I negotiate, you guys approve, make changes, do whatever you tell me what to do. I told you guys that last time I did all by myself, and I think I missed things, which I know I did because now Chris has told me a lot of insurance things. So I asked Chris to help. Chris looked at it, gave me some concerns with insurance, and making sure that because this is a consulting contract with an outside vendor, the whole problem with not being an employee, all considerations. So I asked Chris, and Chris, the last thing I knew was that Chris and Shree were working on insurance questions and or whatever. The contract, so I received it from Chris about,
To be clear, you're talking about our attorney.
Yeah, oh yeah, sorry, Chris Patterson. Sorry, thank you. So I received it from Chris Patterson a little bit ago, but I did not actually look at it in detail because I was preparing for the road meeting for last week. And I did not, so I have, this is not something that, so that ended I have not brought up any of the concerns I personally have with Chris. I was asked to put it on for discussion tonight, which actually isn't a horrible thing to start it, but just so you know, and I did not see the request for the money part of it until it dropped in the packet. So, with that said, doesn't mean we can't talk about it up front, but just to let you know, I would have rather done the procedural part a bit different. So, with that though, and I do notice, so I have something in the packet, and I have this, but I have just been handed changes to page 4 of 8 and 7 of 8. This is unacceptable. No, this is unacceptable. It goes in the packet, we discussed it in the packet. You don't throw something on my desk that I haven't seen in the middle of a meeting. This, I understand. I totally understand. These changes, no. However, again, I'm only one person here. With that said, John, would you please like to start the discussion? Oh, who does it? Tony, please.
I'll go ahead and
Go
start
ahead.
the discussion. My feelings about the contract are this. We need, and I know I'm gonna lose a friend this evening, we need a zoning administrator to be in our office during the times that we're open. A planner can work from anywhere at any time, but we need, for the residents' sake, to have someone sitting there, talking with them, answering the phone calls, stamping the permits, filing these kinds of things, all the time. So I disagree with this contract. I know what Mr. Patterson was trying to do. I have a lot of experience in that other part of the world where the IRS tells you all the what fors, and we would lose with this contract if it were brought before the Internal Revenue Service. They would rule against us in an administrative law court because of the way that it is structured. This person is an employee, okay? So number one, we've got risk to the township. for sure. And number two, we need a zoning administrator to be in the office when we are open. And that's my feelings, and I will vote against this contract as it stands now.
Can I ask a follow-up question? I'm just looking at the thing that was put on our,
Yeah.
so according to this, the zoning portion of either the time you spend billing, I'm not sure, but the zoning piece of this puzzle is not the majority of the work that she does, if this is what this is telling me.
I really don't know. I haven't really had a chance to look
Yeah.
at this. I think you should direct questions to Sri on this pie chart, not me.
Well, it's 11 out of 26
I'm sorry.
11
hours per week. The way it's been presented.
I just see, and this is my observation. I see, because we don't have an administrator there, a zoning administrator there, I see resources being used from other areas. I see the office manager's time and resources, 20% of her time at least. I see our assessor answering questions that, even though he knows the answers to, perhaps he should not be answering. And we need to really, okay, I'll wade right into this pool, Mike, if you don't, okay?
Yeah, like I said, all there's a bunch of emotion here, and I'm not synthesizing.
Okay. I've developed rates for some of the biggest corporations in the world for government contracts, okay? And you have to take what Jeff has asked for ever since I've been here. The allocation of the central expenses. In our case, it's going to be Department 267. All the pools that run, all of the expenses that you pool together, and then you figure the cost drivers that rule how those are parceled out to the different departments. In our case, there's zoning, there's the clerk's office, there's the treasurer's office, the supervisor's office. We have a little bit of roads. Zoning is really PC and ZBA. We don't do that. We should do that. And if you were to do that, you would find that right now, because we don't have a zoning administrator, a great deal of that pooled resources is going to zoning because they are consuming time and effort and space and everything else that could be done by a zoning administrator. And yes, I'm looking right at you, Jeff. And that's the way I feel about it. This contract is misleading because it isn't fully loaded, okay? When you hire somebody, Grant, you have to, the employee's salary is the employee's salary, but you have to load it. You have to say, gosh, if I'm gonna have that assistant, I'm gonna have to pay FICA taxes, I might have to put on retirement, I should probably get him or her another phone, they're gonna need a computer, on and on and on. You have to load that. And that's what you do with a rate. This contract is deceptive in that it only says this is how much you're costing. It doesn't tell me anything about the resources being consumed by that individual. And I know you're going to counter with, well, what about if we had another, if we did what I would like to do and had a separate zoning administrator? wouldn't that person then consume those resources too? And my answer is yes. There would be consumption of resources, but that person would be there to serve our residents. Anytime we're open, barring illness or vacation, when they accumulate. And that's how I feel. The contract should be loaded. If you want to get the true cost of the planning and zoning that you're putting forward here, then figure everything else in.
I can either, my computer's there.
That's all. So I will vote no in the form that this contract is in, and I don't care that Chris Patterson put it together. I will vote against it because it does not serve the needs of the people of our township. It serves the planning needs very well. It doesn't serve the zoning administrator needs.
So then, is your assessment then that, because right now zoning is, if I understand this pie chart correctly, zoning is 43% of her work. And 31% of that is in the office,
I have
related to zoning.
I can't comment on this.
So I guess what I'm getting at is, right now, the expectation, or what she's been doing, isn't 100% zoning.
Oh, no.
That's never been the expectation, and we already stated that if it's not 100% zoning, and a good portion of it is planning, you do not need to be in the office to do planning.
Exactly, but
So-
we do need a zoning administrator. I come in every day, and if Sri is one of her days that she's working at home, or one of her days that she's off, a resident doesn't get served. Or else, Linda, our office manager, I'm sorry, is running back and forth trying to serve the client, the resident, the contractor, whomever, between what Sri is trying to work on as a zoning administrator and what the client or resident is demanding right now. And I see this every single day, and it intensifies during our construction season, which we're in now. So my position, and I know I won't be the clerk here for that much longer, but my position is that either Sri provides us with a zoning administrator, or we employ a zoning administrator and we split this between a planner and a zoning administrator. One way and another, we need somebody in that office to serve the residents. Okay, I'm done.
Thank you, Tony. Who would like-
Your rebuttal, sir?
No,
I'll go.
Good.
So, I've been here a while. We've had full-time zoning administrators. The one that was here when I was a resident, first a resident, was a professional engineer. It's easy to throw stones at the people that came before us. I don't like doing that. But what I will say is that prior to us hiring Giffords Webster, the rate of complaints from citizens and contractors was dramatically lower than what it's been since then. And the chief complaint is access to the zoning administrator and poor response times with respect to zoning administration. I have said to Sri a couple of times, I've talked to some of my fellow board members a couple of times, the typical structure for planning and zoning in Michigan townships is to have a zoning administrator and a planner. It's two separate people doing two separate jobs. From my perspective, I think that Sri has a passion for planning, and we heard at least one planning commissioner tonight speak highly of her planning skills. But we are not meeting the expectations for what they should be receiving in terms of citizens, property owners, potential property owners, contractors. I have been very unsatisfied with the fact that I receive phone calls in the morning and I can transfer them to voicemail, I can give a cell phone, but it's not effective. We have walk-ins and people have come in multiple times and come back and come back. That's not acceptable. I fully agree with what Tony said. I think we need a zoning administrator that's here 32 hours a week in the building or out doing staking inspections and looking at projects in the field. I also have some heartburn because when you hire planners, and we've hired planners from different organizations in the past for this township, it's not one person, it's an organization, and those organizations have capabilities which are broad. We recently talked to a planning firm that had 4 in-house attorneys. They would not be using our attorneys. And I know for a fact that Linda is working very hard to fill gaps that she shouldn't have to fill. So I agree with Tony. The way that the current contract is structured, I don't like it. I think that we should look at actually a different structure. And we should be considering perhaps Sri as our planner, supporting the planning commission, and someone else fulfilling the role of zoning administration. And I am a big believer in competitive bids. That's what I have to say.
Okay. Thank you, John. Who would like to know?
Sure, a couple things. Sure, you've got numerous questions related to the contract. Without getting into those, I guess I'm just curious, from your perspective, you have other clients or a different client, and clearly there's a need for greater service to our community, whether it's sitting here, being in the office, which would be most helpful. So, but if you have another client, that's hard to do. So I guess from your perspective, are you trying to build a business such that you have, additional team members that can support? That's a different type of a structure than being a sole proprietor with your business and then having one or more additional clients. And I'm concerned that you would be spread too thin to be able to service both of those clients in a manner that they need. And I think you've probably heard, certainly this evening and perhaps other times, where there's a need for attention as well. So I guess you put something before us that I don't know what that means or what it relates to, what it is different from what we have in our packet, but I guess I just, you don't have to answer right now, but I just.
I would like to.
I'm sorry?
I would like to, if given the chance.
Okay.
We're done.
Well,
Finished?
I have many other things, but I think it's a fundamental issue whether there's a willingness, just set the zoning administration versus planning aside. Being present, I think, is a significant factor. And just, I do agree, there's been a lot of headway that's been made in this arena through your support, so that's appreciated.
Can I respond?
Yes.
My my intent was not to, when I distributed those documents, it was not to negotiate or propose an alternate. My intent when I distributed those is that they would act as aids when the opportunity comes and then talk about it. So I just wanted to clarify that. And we did talk about, with regards to your question, yes, I'm also here. I've heard the residents, and John was right. John did express his, shared his thoughts with me multiple times, having a full-time zoning administrator, and I think that is definitely up to the board's discretion. I am not going to make a case for the contract because whether what's your need is something what you need to decide. What I'm offering through the contract is what I can offer. So if you feel like, if the board feels like, you know, the community needs a full-time zoning administrator, I am happy to amend the contract to address what is needed from me. So I want to make that clear. So I will leave that to your discretion. I will not, so that's point one. And then I was hoping this would go slightly little different because I prepared some points to talk about so that I might address some questions head on. And then also, so sorry, I'm deviating, distracting a little bit. So to go back to your question about my other clients, I haven't purposefully taken other clients because I didn't want to spread thin. I do work for City of Novi, but it's not, sometimes I do nothing for them in the month, or sometimes I have 2 plan reviews for them. I only take their excess work. There's no set hours with them. And with regards to why, if I can be in the office, the schedule I'm offering is because I'm trying to find a work-life balance, which is why I moved on to doing an independent consultant. I'm not trying to build a business here. I'm just trying to find a balance with my work and the needs of the township. That said, I am, whatever the township wants, whatever you think I can be helpful, I'm willing to work with you on revising that. And with regards to the process, how this came before you, I'm as surprised, because I'm hearing it for the first time, that I was working with the assumption that I work with the township designee, and the proposal is here for board's discussion. This is not my final best offer. This is something to get the discussion started, to get your thoughts and revise it. So, and if I was told before it was placed on agenda that this was the plan, I would have been happy to work with them, with Mike, before it's on the next agenda. So I believe communication and respect is all I'm asking. I get it. I wasn't trying to negotiate anything here. That was not. It was just to use an aid for discussion. So Dan, did I address your question?
I think you provided some useful
So
insight.
I'm only offering something so that I don't spread myself thin, but I don't have any major clients. But if Webster Township feels like, you know, having a full-time zoning administrator is what you need, then I will go find another client to fill those hours.
Yeah, so it sounds like you're certainly willing to work with us, and I guess what I'm hearing that there was not any internal negotiation discussion related to what you had proposed prior to this evening. Is that
I think I had a misunderstanding based on how the zoning administrator policy was happened. I did have an internal discussion with the township designee that was assigned to me to work with stuff, which was Jeff.
Sure.
okay? But in terms of, you know, like you started off saying, I normally negotiate these things, and you haven't been involved yet.
Right,
And I wasn't told that that was the process, Mike, to be honest.
Right, and I really want to point out the fact that Sri did not tell me she wanted this tonight. Sri was not the person who wanted this on the agenda. She was more than willing to go, all right, we'll talk about it, we can put it on next time. I mean, you wondered why I didn't put it on there, but you didn't try to somehow force it on there or anything like that. There's no wrongdoing at all.
Communication again, when Amanda reached out to me when she was working on the draft agenda, she said, what do you like to? And then I included, this is what I would like to, and then I forwarded that Chris's email to you a week before the draft agenda was sent out. I said, hey, I think I'm ready for the agenda, so communication.
So I just really want to point out that the fact that it's on tonight was not something she was forcing on us or anything like that.
No,
Yeah,
it's just
Just,
something
I
to
mean,
get
I
discussion
know everybody probably knows that, but just to really, really clear.
It's also the first draft.
Yes, so, and again, I mean, you know, one of the people who wanted to put on is Tony, because she wanted to start the discussion.
First reading.
Right, so, I mean, again, right, just don't, okay. Would anyone else like to, yes?
Yeah, I'd like to hear from Jeff, Justin,
Just listening. So Tony, first off, I'm gonna address, you think that I'm gonna be mad about something one way or another, which I'm not.
No.
I mean, the fact that we're talking about having separation of powers with the zoning administrator and a planner, that's been a thing we've talked about a lot. But it hasn't been in our discussions in the last 5 months. And we've known this contract was coming. And simply, we should have talked about this ahead of time.
I agree.
And I will say, Mike, you know I'm the one also that pushed to have it on there, again, to have the discussion going. You
Well,
can
and
say
that's
it,
good.
it's okay.
Oh, okay, okay,
But,
thank you.
but the point was, we've gone and we're on a temporary contract for the last 5 months. And we were supposed to have this addressed we were supposed to have this addressed before the end of the year. We were talking about it, and it didn't happen. So I wanted to see something come to fruition. Yeah, regardless of approval or discussion or whatever, it needed to be addressed. It's the same with some of our planning stuff that keeps not getting on the agenda. So the fact is, it doesn't matter to me if we have separate zoning administrator and planner. I don't think it matters to Sri whether or not we have it. There are separate costs, and if we're starting to talk about it, and I'm all for a person that's in the office 4 days a week. I wish you guys were in the office 4 days a week for 8 hours, but it doesn't happen. But if we have, you want to talk about support, having a zoning person here, I think is a good idea. I don't know how much work there is with regards to that. And that's one of the things that I've looked at when I'm looking at Sri. She puts in a percentage, and I hear people talk about accessibility, but she is accessible. There are, she's been accessible obviously by phone, and that's not always what people want. They want to come in, they want to see something, but there's also a thing where people just want to stop in and they don't want to plan. And a lot of times that's developers and things like that. But I think we're going to be looking at a significant cost overlay if we actually put somebody on full time. And we've done that. That was prior to me even getting here. There were, as John said, there were full-time people. We had a full-time engineer at one time. There was a full-time zoning administrator. And then we went after the full-time zoning administrator, we started doing contractors. And we've been doing it for both purposes. There is a lot of difficulty, and anybody that was here knows there's a lot of difficulty finding people to fill these roles. And we went through, I don't know what, probably 2 or 3 times we had to post this and go through it. And it was difficult finding qualified people to fill those positions.
So let me jump in with you. So who was part of Sri? Zach, right? And part of that was Randy?
Yeah, Zach was part of Carlisle Ward.
Yeah,
Oh.
Zach was Carlisle Ward.
Gotcha, okay.
So,
And he was here on a part-time basis?
Yes.
yes.
He became an FTE for a bit, didn't he?
No.
No.
We were going to put him as an FTE, and
The day before.
yeah, the day before.
Yeah, well, I remember the prior board, you guys, when Randy was still here, we were using Carlisle, and I thought there was real holes in our service, probably the way things I can put it. It's that whole department. And some of the, certainly from the zoning administration, and we were spending significantly with Carlisle. I mean, those are budget items we could handle. But then I guess I was interested in the history. So that was Zach, and then you were hired when? By Barb, John, and John?
I started working for the
We
township
hired
through
Nicholas
Giffords.
Webster.
At what time?
2022?
It was a little more than 3 years ago.
Yeah. End of 2022.
Yeah, but your function here has always been on a contract basis, either through your company or through Giffords.
Right.
And there is a little bit of history of that. When I started, the previous zoning administrator was already gone. And the ZBA, members of the ZBA and members of the planning commission were all threatening to quit because they did not have access to what they needed to do their job. And so we put, there was a committee of people from the community and me, and we drafted what we thought we needed, and we posted separate zoning administrator and together zoning administrator. We looked at sites where zoning administrators advertise, on the MTA, on the municipal one, I can't think of the name of it. We looked on several places and we advertised, and we could not find anyone to do it. We couldn't even get RFPs from planning agencies because there was a massive lack of ability. There was a shortage of people to do the work. And so they wouldn't take us on because we were small and they were already overwhelmed.
Well, 3 of us that were on that committee of 5 are here at the table tonight. Rick, Kleinschmidt, you and I.
I don't remember Rick being on there.
Yeah.
I remember,
Yes,
it was,
But
Tom
we had bids from multiple planning companies, not individuals, but planning companies.
after the second time, we just kept putting it out because we were not getting responses.
And
We did not have enough bids to make it competitive. And we took Carlisle Mortman mainly because Kingsley already had a relationship with Mortman, as I recall.
That's
And
right.
then,
That's right.
yeah, and then when we tried to sort of snipe Zach from work, who was not giving us everything we needed, we were not getting enough time on his part. When we tried to snipe him, Carlisle Work cut us off and said they wouldn't serve us anymore. And that's how we ended up, then we had to redo the bid again and start all over. So, there isn't this like massive a number of people who are qualified to do this work, who are just floating around waiting for work to do. It's not easy to find somebody to work in a small township. And most of these people have master's degrees. They're not gonna work in a tiny township for like $60,000. It's not, that's why we have contractors.
Yeah, and you can see what those rates are, but we've been on a contract basis for, so all that math adds up to what? When did Zach start? So we're 5 years in with arrangements similar to what's getting proposed tonight.
So I was asked by at least 2 separate planning commissioners to provide them with the financial history on planning and zoning, and I did that exercise, I believe, back in January. So I have the data ready to go. I can email it to everybody tomorrow morning.
Oh, I guess what I'm getting at though is, how long did we have Zach?
We never had Zach.
All right, Zach.
Carlisle
Yeah.
Morgan was our planner for years and years and years, a long time.
I know, I understand that, John, but functionally, we had one person in the office, of which we were sending the checks to Carlisle. They weren't cyclone people.
We had Carlisle Workman as our planner while Randy Rayford was our
I never was on the
zoning
board at that time.
administrator.
Right.
Yeah.
And we had 1 or 2 planners who typically show up from Carlisle at that time. But then Zach was in the office for, that relationship was how, 2 years?
I don't think it was that long.
Why are we talking so much about the history?
Because, well, we had this thing, because right now you're asking, I mean, your discussion was basically you want a full-time zoning administrator.
I do.
Right, and that hasn't been lost on this board or I think past boards. That's what Shelley just went through. We've looked through it, and that's been a challenge. And the stopgap that's happened now for the last 5 years is some type of consulting relationship, either with a bigger firm, or with Giffords, or a smaller firm. basically talking about. So, really, personality things aside here, it really seems as if we want to try to find a zoning administrator, by all means, we can restart that. I think that seems to be the biggest ask. She's already said she doesn't have the time to be here from the life-work balance for that.
And that's not gonna save us money, for the record. It's gonna be exactly the same amount we're paying now, because if we have to offer a zoning administrator 80 grand to work here, we're gonna have to pay another 30 to 40 for their benefits.
But the trade-off is that we will be serving the residents in the manner that they need to be served. That's the trade-off, Shelley. We may not save any money. We certainly won't, probably, but we will be providing the service. We'll be getting the planning, which is what Sri is excellent at. Just to ask Mr. Zaluga, ask Mr. Neal, everybody. That is what she is excellent at. She is a good planner. We need, and I'm not disputing that she could be a good zoning administrator too. It's just that doesn't fit into her life. What we need for our residents does not fit into Sri's life.
I'm not talking about Shri specifically, I'm talking about if we hire a full-time person, I think we need to understand it's gonna be very expensive.
Yes.
It's gonna, and there's gonna be a giant learning curve there, and I don't know that we'll find somebody quickly.
I was gonna say, you tried this activity before. I mean, how long did you search and came up with no one?
We had to post it the first time twice.
Well, more than one time. Now, I haven't had this conversation with Sri. Other people have. More than one time, she said she would be open to hiring of it and to employing a zoning administrator, to finding somebody for us, because she has the contacts to do that. And that would be something that's why I said she either needs to supply us with one and rework the contract to fit that person in it with her as the planner, or we need to separate them and have somebody on site to do that zoning administration work. That's my position.
Yeah, and that's why I asked the question earlier. If she has an intention to build her business, then there's an opportunity there. I think, I guess it would be my suggestion that we, go back and huddle up and try to figure out what Sri is interested in doing, what she can do, what she wants to do, and determine what's realistic from our perspective, and then, come back with another proposal based on what we want to accomplish.
Thanks, Jim. I'm going to step in only for a tiny bit. So, I've had a lot of conversations about this, not particularly this contract, but about Shri's role, what Shri would like to do, which apparently no one else thinks about, and the Planning Commission's problems with that. I have talked to, let's see, I've got 4 Planning Commission members now I've talked to. 3 of those people do not want Shri to do our master plan. They would now, for various reasons, they want to hire an outside planning firm and then basically have Shri just kind of pick up whatever questions they have for her, okay, so that's for the, basically, so that's it. They say, I've heard things about, well, she's too busy to do all this other planning things, right, because she's a zoning administrator now. I mean, when I look at the master plan, I'm very worried about what's coming. We just talked, Shri, there's 11 bills the legislature's going to try to shove down our throats. And I need somebody, me, personally say, I need somebody or some buddies who have experience with large municipalities, because we have to plan for what they're gonna do to us and how we're gonna grow. We know we have to grow. We wanna grow as slow as you can. I think everybody in the township doesn't want this thing to turn into Novi. Well, Sri knows how it turns into Novi. Bill, who's the head of the planning commission from Ypsilanti Township, I need him involved too. They know where this stuff, what we need to protect from, how we need to get there. The two of them, I think, honestly, if I had to pick two people to run the whole thing, right? I know the planning commission's in charge of the master plan, but, so I asked Sri, we talked about it. I mean, pardon, sorry if I'm like saying, none of it seemed to be private, but I think Shri's very, trying to be very accommodating to what we want. I mean, heard that again tonight. I asked her, I believe personally that I think Shri would like to be the main planner person helping on the master plan. Not us going out and hiring another, I know even Shri could not do the master plan all by herself. We would have to have someone, it's kind of like the park master plan, right? I asked Shri was in charge. Shri's like, I can't do this part, can I have $10,000 for giftbles? And we all said yes, right, to support her. I would like to do that for the master plan. But so I've had, for whatever reason, three of the planning commissioners tell me that's not what they want. I've had one person of the planning commissioners tell me that that is what they agree with what I think. I've heard that there's another planning commissioner who also would support that idea. I've not talked to that particular planner. So right now, I have a planning commission who is internally divided. And I know what Shri has told me, she's told Jeff. She says if we go out for an RFP for a planning commission, for a planning commission, or planner for the master plan, Shri was going to, have some people maybe put up an RFP herself. Jeff doesn't want her to do it. Well, first of all, okay, that's his opinion. Mine's different, and we're okay. We're okay. Right now, I think there's a problem with, I think I'm just trying to support what Dan's saying. Right now, we're just not quite ready for this before we decide what we need, if that makes sense. And it's one of those weird things. Shri is very accommodating. I do know that Chris, when we first talked, he was very confused about why we're doing this kind of combined contract. As Tony puts it, we know what he tried to do. I know exactly what he tried to do. He tried to make sure that what's in here establishes that Shri's an independent contractor. Okay, so we have a little bit of a problem. Well, I'm just going to go with insurance. So I'm trying to look at this. So that was my first thing. I guess I'm going to keep going. Sorry. Okay.
Mike, just a
Yeah, no, go ahead.
and just so people understand, the master plan work is not in this contract.
It's extra. So right now,
Well, it's not even contemplated that she's doing it, so I don't know why we're,
no, it is. It's actually in the contract twice, and it's somewhat internally inconsistent. One of the things says anything she does with our help for the master plan is extra, above and beyond the salary part of this.
if we have to do it.
Right. Well, obviously, Shri will be helping with the master plan, no matter what. So, yes, we would pay extra. It's a little confusing because some of the listed duties also talk about the master plan. So it's a little bit, but that's, no, here nor there. I'm going to go with insurance. So the problem is, Chris, because he thinks that's what we want, or at least right now, is trying to do a square peg in a round hole and turn this contract into something that works. I think, really well for a planner. All the hours you want to put in, you have all kinds of freedom, you don't have to be here, all these other things. Whereas some of the stuff is the zoning administrator part, it is more of an employee kind of position, and I have there's insurance problems with this. Well, first of all, we have the IRS thing. I don't know. I mean, they don't care what we say what this relationship is. There's like a Sixth Circuit case. They do what they want. They look at these factors, control, all kinds of other control, giving resources. we're not supposed to actually give Sri her phone. Not to mention, like, if we ask an attorney to help with whatever Sri wants, that's us. We're the client. Shri's not supposed to. I mean, if Shri is our attorney without, that's our tool. That's our tool. Lynn is our tool, right? That kind of thing. Again, Lynn is very accommodating. But let's look at like workers' comp. So part of the zoning administrator's job is to wander around and like look at stakes. I know Chuck does a lot of that stuff now, but if Shri starts doing it, she's out there, she's on somebody's yard, she gets hurt. If it's Chuck who goes out there and gets hurt, our workers' compensation covers him. If Shri does it, our workers' compensation does not cover her. And unfortunately, because Shri is not an employee of her own company, weirdly enough, from what I understand, she can't get her own workers' comp. She could get a workers' comp on someone underneath her, right? Like if she hired a zoning administrator and that was her employee, she could get her own workers' compensation insurance, but she cannot do it as a person because she's not a worker. It's the way it is. Tony?
Hold on, you missed that. I've been running my own business for 20 years. It's generally been Connie and I, with some employees. But right now it's Connie and I. We're required to carry workman's comp all the time. We're an LLC, we carry it through that window.
Well, I've heard.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
You have workers' comp insurance?
We do. We do. It's part of our general compensation package, or our general insurance package.
Are you a corporation or an LLC?
LLC.
And you can get, are you both? Let me, this gets way too far in the weeds.
All right, that's fine.
Yes.
Keep going.
Oh, no, so the only, yeah.
But Sri, what I'm doing, I'm working on an audit for workers' compensation. They are asking me for tellers, luck at that, and Sri's workers' comp binder. Yes, the binder. And she can't get it. And I'm wondering if it's because she's a flow-through, a sole proprietor flow-through, or how that's working, how she set that LLC up, but it doesn't really matter to me. I need to know that she's covered by something, or they will add in her compensation to our wages paid, and this feeds into the fact that maybe she's not really a contractor given the way it's set up. It's just, this is outside my strength, and
We can talk about this.
Yeah.
I don't know how germinated it is.
And you may be totally right. All I know is so Sri does work for Novi too. Does work for Novi. I did not actually ask this. Somebody told me that Sri has provided them her medical insurance.
I told you.
Okay, so you said that.
I told her.
Okay, good. So I'm guessing, I'm great if you can find workers' comp. I'm just saying right now, from what the info everyone's giving me, we have at least something we have to figure out with it. We also have like general negligence. Our policy right now does not, it covers Chuck. If he runs over somebody, it does not cover Sri. The way auto is, unless I would hope that both of you put a rider in your own cars so you can use them for business purposes, because I know darn well that if you don't have it, and the first thing they're going to go, the first thing auto insurance is gonna go is, we're using it under personal time, we're using it for business. If you're using it for business, they will deny your claim. I've seen this a lot over the years. So, now, I mean, we can fix that, but it's kind of a problem. None of this is a problem for my planner, a planner. They don't ever have to go out to like wander around people's yards or drive around, you know, doing enforcement things like Chuck does. So, there's just a lot, and I'm really concerned with the way that it's written, that, again, I'll just tell you, the courts don't care what we call it, the IRS doesn't care what we call it, they're gonna make their own determinations. If the IRS thinks she's an employee, we're on the hook for what, another 8%, plus penalties and interest. If somehow some auto insurance claim shows up and Shree's no fault won't cover it, first of all, I don't think there's any way Shree could get her damages covered in her car, and there's a decent chance, depending on what the other person has, that somehow they would sue us, even if we think that Shree's not an independent contractor, or that is an independent contractor, we would get sued anyway. And, you know, then the court will look at all those factors. And I think that what's in there would be fine for a planner. Again, I know I'm kind of repeating myself, I know it's a little late, but
It's about like,
all right, anyway, so I'm just having, I would rather have two contracts. Right, okay.
Clearly, there are issues.
Right.
There's fundamental differences in, I think, what Shree is wanting to provide. There's difference in what we need. So I would suggest that we have some discussions
Yes.
with her and with our planning experts to internal to try to figure out a plan on how to move forward. And then, I mean, you're talking about a lot of legal, contractual issues
Right, and
that
again,
we're not discussing here tonight.
no, and part of this is just because of the timing, right? I haven't talked to Chris about them. I just started looking through the street place.
It's 11, I get it. There are a lot of questions that need to be answered, more points to be discussed. And I just hoping to wrap this discussion so that we all can move on.
Okay.
Couple of questions, food for thought for you guys to think about. So Barry Lonick is a contractor with you guys? Ted Erickson is a contractor with you guys?
Terry works IMAG, it's not on his own, is he?
Yeah, so IMEG,
It's just him.
right.
Oh.
So I am curious, I wanted the board to think about, maybe review those contracts and see if you like their legal terms, then I'm happy to adopt them.
Okay.
That's what I did with NOVA too.
Okay.
And this contract was reviewed by two municipal attorneys, one your attorney and one my friend who is a municipal attorney who reviewed it. Either one of them didn't raise any concerns, so I thought those were sorted.
Okay.
And thank you for acknowledging the fact that I'm accommodating, but I think there's a limit to that. So I'm working on a month-to-month, and I don't see any clarity here. How long this is going to be, strung on. I need some clarity. I need a timeline, I need a deadline, so that I can figure out what the options are. And I also noticed that the 3 people I work on a daily basis in the township are waiting till a board meeting to communicate with me what the concerns are and not in the office. That's just catching me off guard a lot. And I want, if you can, I also want you to recommend that you guys look at contract with other townships, to get a sense of, so that you're not just looking at mine, just to get a sense of what's out there. And if you want to consider putting out an ad for a full-time zoning administrator, I suggest you do that right away. And if you want to put out for competitive bids, I suggest you do that right away, so we all have a timeline we're working towards, and we're not just winging as long as we can, like private roads amendment. Last but not the least, the duties of zoning administrator that are listed in the township ordinance has a large overlap with planning related duties. So keep that in mind too. According to the zoning ordinance, the zoning administrator attends planning commission meetings, the zoning administrator does text amendments, the zoning administrator does plan reviews. It's essentially the zoning administrator according to your zoning ordinance does everything a planner does. So start with defining that before you find a full-time zoning administrator. And with regards to the master plan, Dan, I think you got that right. I am not under any assumptions or any presumptions how that's going to go. I've been telling from day one, if you are hiring an outside consultant, that's your discretion. But I was just saying that given the fact that I've been working, hearing from residents, I have a lot to offer as well. The institutional knowledge I've gained in the past couple of years, I feel it's a lot. So before we even start negotiating the contract, I think the board needs to be clear what they want. Because I'm not spending any more time when board's not on the same page as what they want. And I've been waiting patiently since November for the board to get on the same page.
Yeah, we should be talking about this Christmas time. If you want to go to a full-time zoning administrator, not now, here we are, May. I mean, this contract isn't substantially different than other contracts we have, huh? All right, so what are we going to do? So Dan, your suggestion is what? We're going to get Jeff and Sri to talk with somebody internally, or what's the plans from the officers? That's the, how do you want to move forward with zoning administration and planning? I mean, right now, you said you want a zoning administrator, okay, fine. You know, we went through, collectively, your boards have gone through this in the past, and we hired Sri, and then we hired her when she was with Giffords, and then we hired Zach. But
Yeah, so I think it's a fair question to ask the consultant if, again, if she is interested in building a business, she may have a contract that could provide those services. And I don't know that. And, it's not really necessarily a question to ask at this meeting, but we need to have the discussion of understanding what her capabilities and interests may be and how they can serve the community. And there may be a match, or there may not be a match, and I don't know that.
Dan, I would like to answer that. Just given how the discussion was on all the workers' compensation, liabilities, and the concerns, and I also see a little bit of wavering of trust. Would the board be okay if I try to find a zoning administrator? Would the trust be there? I don't want to go through that process and then again come and trying to defend myself and the person I hired. Right, there's no clarity. So ideally, I would like to grow a business, but the kind of what I'm sensing here, I feel like you may want to find your own.
So I need to talk about
Because
that.
then we're again discussing the same thing. You're hiring a full-time zoning administrator as a consultant, not as your employee.
No,
So
so I would like to, okay, so we'll look at Tree LLC as a small planning company, kind of small in Carlisle Wharton. I would be very happy if you found a zoning administrator to sit their butt in the seat
If I can defend for 2 people, I'm wearing myself very, trying
Right.
to
I
defend
mean-
every day.
Well, I kind of think that would take a lot of the, how it would take the stress off you, actually.
I think
If you don't think that, then
it's minimize the recommendation that we do some benchmarking.
We need to figure out what the heck we want. That's correct, period.
So, oh, I want to bring up one more thing, because I was seeing this whole 14% thing. Tony and I went through, so it's kind of a weird thing, right? Because the way, what's laid out is there's, you know, you pay me, in the memo, you pay me this much this year, so it's 5% over that for this stuff, and I'm changing the, you know, because she does charges by the hour for meetings, and so she's kind of trying to make it simpler. We did the calculation, we looked up how much extra we paid Shree this year and added it to what her contract, you know, the normal thing says. And then we looked at the new number, and it's not 14%, it's about 6. So it's a little more than 5 just because of the way the hours work. But, so that criticism by other people is not valid. I want to make everyone make that clear, that is not valid. We calculated it around 6. Using the numbers we actually have.
Yeah, and her all-in hourly rate, if we start spending money with another, go back to Carlisle, their rates are almost 1.5, 2x.
Yeah, I actually have a,
That's when we get into how much does it really cost, which is another conversation.
Well, I think it's also important, since we're clarifying that it was not a 14% increase, that we clarify that Shree does not work 17 hours a week.
oh yeah, thank you.
Shree
Sorry.
works well over, the office is only open for 32 hours, and Shree works more than 32 hours a week. She doesn't bill for more than 32 hours a week because we don't have her on the hourly rate. So I just want to clarify that
Which
too.
then further dilutes the price per hour. She's working more hours for the same, for that fixed cost.
Right, yeah.
All right.
Okay, so, so, how do we do this?
Can we postpone the final 2 items? It's after 11.
Oh, the final 2. Okay,
Because this says first reading.
right. So,
This next one for the enforcement was a first reading.
right.
They have it in their hands.
You have it in your hands. I will just say first, yes, for the draft enforcement policy, so this is, Chuck has, this is, okay, so what he did, he took what Mike, so we don't have a policy, but Mike has a procedure that we've been using, Chuck's been using, got it from Mike. Then he went to look at the Dexter, and what's the other? Amber? Owl. So that's, and he took them all together. Oh, Amber. Handshake. So that's where this starts from. I know we have discussions about how we would like to, you know, whether we want a mix of complaint-based and other things, but at least just take a look at what's in there and try to figure out what you would like to see changed, because we totally are just starting. I do want, so one thing, last that I think we should do tonight is the warning siren survey, because we kind of have to get it out so that we can, if we find that people are like interested in sirens, then we can talk about putting a millage question up on the ballot. And so timing matters for that, right? There's something, tell me. So,
Because they want to send it out in the tax bills that go out the end of July, or end of June, sorry.
Well, my original understanding is that we were being asked to put a survey in the tax bill, but my read of what's in the packet is that we put 1 or 2 sentences on the back of the tax bill.
It's been reduced.
And when I was a new treasurer, the very first couple of years, I and others put a great deal of effort into polishing and refining and structuring the information on the back of the tax bills. Now, as a sage treasurer with many years of experience, I know that nobody reads the back of their tax bill.
This looks like it's a form that's already set up in
Oh.
Microsoft, right?
Elena,
Yeah, why can't we just distribute the link to it on our newsletter,
that
on the
was, that
website,
is the plan.
on Facebook, wherever, you
Right.
know?
That is the plan. I guess for tonight, Steve wanted to make sure you guys were okay with the questions.
I'm not.
Okay.
Nor am I.
Okay, well, suggestions are great, so that's why I brought it. What would you like to see, sorry, what would you like to see change?
I think it should be a 2 or 3 question survey.
Okay.
Can you currently hear emergency sirens? Yes or no? Do you want emergency sirens? Yes or no? Are you willing to pay for them? Yes or no? And have a sum of whatever that we project that to be over the next 10 years, which is going to be expensive.
Okay.
That's it. We don't have, there's so many questions here.
Okay.
Just, they have no relationship to whether we want to provide or have the community provide emergency services, sirens.
Okay.
The, if I may.
Yeah.
So the only, I took issue with the fact that there was a question in there about, did you hear the sirens? And I think a much better quality question would be, how did you learn about the tornado warning? Please select all that apply. And then have a list, sirens, mobile phone or tablet alerts, radio, television, apps like Facebook or Nextdoor, or some other means. Because from where I sit, sirens are outdated, obsolete technology. There's much better, more reliable technology. And I think if we do this kind of a survey, we're going to find that the people that learned about it from other means that already exist.
All right, well, Wayne and I will keep working on it with Steve. And then I'll disseminate an email on it, and off we go. And then you guys can tell me.
How are we going to tell you?
Well,
I agree with Dan. It's too long. A lot of the questions aren't going to give information that's dispositive. The ultimate survey is a millage question. Put your money where your mouth is. Are you willing to pay or not?
Enough to cover. And John's got this all in a chart.
I do, and I told Steve that, you know, Steve, your share, if this passed on the millage, would be $98.
And that's what people want to know.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost?
If your house is worth twice as much as Steve's house, it's going to cost you $200. One time.
Okay.
And annually.
Annually, not that much.
No, the purchase of it, we could do it one time. I recognize there's an ongoing maintenance expense.
Okay, so, thank you. Heard, I would like, so John, perhaps you could help me with questions, giving Dan's statements into consideration. We can bring that. Okay.
What are you doing tomorrow, Dan?
All right. Now, you know, I'm pretty much just open to whatever questions. Okay, so, yes. Correspondence you've seen, if you want to talk about it, let me know. Call the public, second time. Okay, not seeing any.
We have some.
Oh, we have some, oh, hey.
Okay. The problems that they have hiring Sree's position in 2022 was 2022. Now 2026, you've had another 4 years of planners and zoning people graduating, looking for jobs. you need to put an RFP out there, whether you do it for a zoning as a full-time position employee, or a planner, or a combination, but to just continue with this on a monthly basis, and even considering the new contract, which it sounds like there's a lot of people that don't favor the new contract. It's not serving anybody any good, and I think you're doing a disservice to the township by not looking outside of right in here. Go to Dexter and ask that guy if he wants to come and work for us. There's got to be other people that are willing to poach somebody that is able to do it, that doesn't have to use all the lawyer's fees.
Thank you. Next person, I thought, that's all.
Well, also look at 67 on Mass Road. A couple things. I was on that committee.
You were, yeah, I thought you
I
were.
was putting my hand back there
Yeah.
too.
And
Sorry.
Tom, and Tom, right?
And Tom.
And Tom, yeah.
I don't know who the planning commissioner was, because Tom was an at-large
He wasn't on
resident.
there, yeah. Was it Andrea? She was ZBA maybe? I think it was Andrea.
So that's one thing. Second thing, I don't think you've got my input on.
I haven't. I know what Sri told me your input was. And it
so-
might not actually be what your input is.
So you didn't- So you didn't talk to me.
I did, that's what I mean, I didn't talk to the other one. Yeah, it's you. I didn't want to put you on the spot.
So I've been involved in at least 5 master plans over 25 years, and every time we worked with an outside, to my recollection, worked with an outside service, because this land administrator here was too busy with stuff. So that,
And probably not qualified either.
well, I wasn't gonna say that, but when it came up around this time, when this master plan discussion started, and we knew how busy Sri was, somebody had the idea of using someone from U of M as an intern. And I guess U of M offered to have this idea, and I said, they'll just give Sri more work, because anybody who's worked with an intern,
Yeah, that's.
they promise the person that they're working with more work. So that's not a good idea, but we did think, with her workload, we may have to go outside again. But if this turns out that she becomes a planner only, why would you go outside to another planner if she's a planner only? So at that point, I was manager a long time before, and my employees always knew how I felt about performance, because we had performance reviews. You essentially gave Sri a performance review publicly. Shame on you. You don't do that. She should know exactly how all that you feel about her job. You don't do it in public forum.
Thank you. Oh, anyone else?
Peter Stevens, 7500 Trucks Lane. To the contract thing, my only concerns is, as Tony outlined, that someone be available in the office to the public more regularly. Aside from that, I, just as a member of the public, have seen and understand Shree's expertise in planning and understanding what she's talking about. Again, it's just my concern that there's not someone in office for residents when they feel it's necessary. To the siren warning, I agree. That survey is long and a lot of questions in there are unnecessary. I will say, just as a voice of support, John, I've had this discussion with Steve plenty of times. There are a lot of older individuals especially who are not very comfortable with the idea of using a cell phone for their emergency alert systems. I don't know everybody on this board's situation, but many people now have their cell phone service through their internet company. If I have my cell phone through Comcast, who provides my internet, and the power goes out because of a storm, I'm not getting any alerts. So there are reasons for these alerts to happen. I know, as a long-time resident of Webster Township, almost 40 years now, I hear the sirens sometimes. I live way up on the far northeast corner of the township, pretty much. I hear them sometimes, but not always. I fully support the idea of trying to get a warning siren here in Webster Township. Otherwise, I'm sorry, John, to put you on the spot. Was that a tick you pulled off your chest earlier?
Indeed it was.
For the love of God, guys, check yourself for ticks. It's warming up. We've got a lot of
You have it
very
on
active
video.
right now. It made me squirm because now I'm shit. Anyway, sorry, language. Thank you. Have a good night.
You win us extra point for being observative.
Yeah, I didn't even notice it. Let's sit here. Okay.
I tried to be discreet.
Anyone else, please? Anyone else have something you want to say? Any more public comment, please? Okay, I'm sure we have like board concerns at the end of this, right?
Yeah.
Anyone want to say anything about that? Turn to board members.
I'm concerned at the length of our meetings.
I know, okay, other than that, can I get a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Thanks.